AskReddit, buy more bees please. If poor people fantasize about winning the lottery, then what do rich people fantasize about? More time. Yup. Time is the real currency of life and it's the only truly non-renewable resource. I know a guy who worked for Barbara Streisand and apparently she was upset that her Picasso, an original, wasn't as nice as someone else's. Grass is always greener, I guess. What's funny is he was such a prolific artist, and relatively recent, that a lot of people have Picassos. I mean, none of his works are cheap, but unremarkable ones are likely cheaper than you think. I once had a chance to spend a few moments in idle conversation with a multimillionaire, and he told me that having money just takes the mask off of the problems that most people argue about when they think they're arguing about money. Based on that, I'd guess many of them daydream about simpler times. I guess I'm so poor that I don't understand what this means XD. I have a friend who is really rich, like money is not an issue rich. I asked him one day, jokingly, "Lol mate, what do you want for your birthday? We are legit giving up buying you anything." He said, "Nothing mate, just come over to my birthday party and I will be really happy." So I guess, friends and connection? Tip, get together and bake him a cake. For most people with money, knowing you have spent time on them is something they appreciate a lot. Living forever. I remember Bill Gates basically saying that in an AMA here 5 or 6 years ago. Someone asked the question basically saying, obviously you have everything you could ever want. Is there any goals you have for the future? And he gave a simple response like, not die. Edit. Founded CSS and AMP. UTM term equals 1 and AMP. UTM content equals share button. Betting $1 on switching the lives of two people on opposite sides of the social hierarchy and observing the results of nature versus nurture in the development of a person. You win, Mortimer. Real friends. Yeah, the rich don't know who are their friends and who are leeches. One of my friends is fuck you rich, like family business makes 50 million in profit every year rich. He once complained to me about how no one takes his problems seriously, they always say you have money so you can't complain. Which is unfair because I heard that broken bones still suck, and so do broken hearts, burns, being lied to. Seeing the Titanic. Jesus Christ, take my upvote. Remember that weird ass video that Mark Zuckerberg did of him grilling stuff? I imagine they fantasize about being a hard-working middle-class person doing regular stuff just to get by. Yeah, there is definitely a strange trend with rich people wanting to cosplay as the working class. Having nobody trying to get their money. True that many wealthy are very guarded about their money and protecting their wealth. Also true that many rich folks are into accruing more wealth than their peers, and, yes, many are keen in flashing their wealth. But I think something that is overlooked by lots of non-wealthy people is that rich folks focus a lot on things like health and their family's well-being. There are many things in these areas that money can't buy, problems that money can't solve. Consequently, many rich folks don't fantasize about things, i.e. clothes, house, car, or even experiences, i.e. fancy trips. Rather, they fantasize about the difficult, intractable problems in their lives often involving health and or familial matters being resolved. Winning the lottery. I've never met a rich person who believed him herself to be rich. Yup. Spoke to lady that was living in a $10 million home and was complaining that the stock market collapse took out some 14 million and now they were struggling to make ends meet. She was so tired of it all that she wasn't sure if she could rest when they took their vacation to their home in the Caribbean the next month or if she'd be stressed all the way to Austria in their winter chalet. She didn't like my suggestion that if they need money they could sell one of their 5 vacation homes or some of the expensive art on the wall. I just didn't get it. I went home with my mom later and stared at my apartment wall and wondered how I was going to make rent if I didn't get hired pretty soon. I guess I fucking didn't get it. Someone with $1 mil fantasize about having 10 mil. Someone with 10 mil fantasize about having 100 mil. Someone with a 100 mil fantasize about having 1 bill. Someone with 1 bill fantasize about having a 100 bill. Mostly this. No guy who made a well-known piece of software early zeros and when he hit his 30s he was still trying to make a second win since his friends were billionaires and he hadn't hit that mark yet. He eventually got near the 100 million mark from investing early in a big company, and then went off radar to buy rural property and just escape it all. So, I think he might have actually found the number that was enough. Having the most money. Gotta get that high score, gotta pump up those numbers. Meaningful relationships. Health. Long life. Legacy. Impact, attention, fame, influence. Being loved for who they are. The one and only advantage of being broke and fugly. Not living next door to poor people that have won the lottery. Or not living next door to anyone. That is why Zuckerberg bought all the houses in his neighborhood. Buying a US senator. Research has shown many bribes are in the $5,000 minus $10,000 range. That isn't chump change to most people, but it's not an unattainable number either. Fuck, we could crowdsource buying politicians and actually have them enact fair laws. I've always had this thought. Poor working people have problems where money is the solution to their problems, while rich people have problems where money isn't the answer to their problems. The only incurable troubles of the rich are the troubles that money can't cure. Which is a kind of trouble that is even more troublesome if you are poor. Certainly there are lots of things in life that money won't buy, but it's very funny. Have you ever tried to buy them without money? Ogden Nash, terrible people. Immortality, probably. Most rich people fantasize about having even more money. There's always a better home to be had in the Hamptons. Perhaps your $6 million home is embarrassingly shabby compared to your neighbor's $20 million home. Maybe you are sad you don't also have a luxury home on Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, the Outer Banks, or La Jolla. What is one private jet when you can have two and not have to share with your wife? Easier for you both to have affairs that way. There's always a foundation to start, a politician to be bought, a society to impress. Hunting poor people for sport. I hear it's the most dangerous game. Probably eyes wide shut type shit. Winning the lottery. A guy that comes to my work lives in a $3 million home and won a $800,000 jackpot last year off of scratch-offs. Running for president. They all think they can skip the lower levels of government and go straight to president. Some of the former presidents proved that it's working and they weren't actual billionaires. I spend a lot of time around wealthy, decent people. This is an interesting subset of wealthy people. They spend a lot of time thinking about improving the lives of people around them, charity, philanthropy, their families, grandchildren, family vacations, and enjoying the latter portion of their lives. On a personal note, my dad is decently wealthy, not wildly, but well off. He fantasizes about my mom being alive. We lost her less than a year ago, and I'm positive that he'd give everything up to have her back. Hey man, this is Reddit. I didn't come here to cultivate faith in mankind. Ruling poor people and buying bigger boats. Probably love, the kind where you can call your best friend at 2 AM just because you need to talk, or the kind where you love your partner so much that seeing them smile brightens your day. Most of the wealthiest people in the world dull only because everything is about transactions. Wishing to interact with someone who wasn't trying to get some of their wealth. Fantasize about being able to trust another person who do not have an ulterior motive. Not paying taxes. Oh. Wait. That's not a fantasy. He only take $1 as salary. What a modest person.